Greetings, I'm Licking County Commissioner Tim Bubb. I'm also a past president of CCAO. With me today is Mollie Crooks. Mollie is a Muskingum County Commissioner and finishing up her career as a Muskingum County Commissioner after a couple of terms. We've known each other for a while, and the purpose of these interviews from a CCAO standpoint for county council execs and commissioners in the future is to really talk about some of the challenges of becoming a commissioner and maybe some lessons learned. And if we can share some of those, especially with commissioners like Mollie who have served very well and have had the ups and downs of being a commissioner, that those lessons learned might be valuable to the next generation of people in these leadership positions. So from that standpoint, let's just dive right in, Mollie. You joined a commissioner who had been there a short time in Muskingum County and another who was a veteran commissioner, all of the same political affiliation.
Correct.
But at the same time, not necessarily always on the same page. Before we talk about how you make friends and how you sort of acclimate yourself into a board of commissioners, let's just talk briefly about background. Some folks would say you need to be a local official, a township official, a city official before you move up to county or a legislative role. Your argument might be that bringing an array of experiences in the real world, in the business world, or the nonprofit world to a commissioner seat is valuable.
I definitely believe that business, whether it be nonprofit, for-profit, community experience, I felt those were my attributes that I could offer to the position and to our community. So I'm going to be totally honest, I was very uneducated about politics and government, but what I knew is I'd lived in my community all my life, and I had served, had been a nonprofit director, and also my husband and I own our own business, so I was pretty well networked throughout the community and loved what I did, but I thought there was a bigger calling for me. So what on the county level could I do to have an impact in a community that I loved and believed in and wanted to see be more dynamic and vibrant? A friend of mine kept saying you should run for mayor. I wasn't in the city, so I ran for county commissioner. The learning began.
Well, the learning does begin, and I had a similar background in private sector, and all of a sudden sometimes you turn left in life and you try something different, but also you want to give back. So it's not necessary to have served in a lesser office or a grassroots office below the commissioner level to be successful. And you took your experiences as a manager, a business owner, or as a nonprofit exec and applied those things to the role of being a county commissioner. What happens when you become a commissioner? Because a lot of people maybe who are watching this are elected for the first time. They don't know what to expect. Did you know what to expect?
Well, I thought I did. When people said, do you have any idea what the heck you're getting into? I would very honestly say, sure, I believe I do. Now, what I did liken it to is my husband being a basketball official in the days that he would blow the whistle and 50% of the people were upset. I was realistic. It's like every decision I make, I'm going to make someone happy and I'm not going to make someone happy. But I think the key is to keep your eye on the prize, and the prize being how do we serve best our community and our citizens.
Let's talk about how you acclimate yourself into the board of, typically for most counties, a board of 3 commissioners. We do have a couple of counties with county councils, which are a little bigger and different. But it's all the same in terms of serving. When you get there, sometimes you're welcomed with open arms. Atta girl, glad you're here. Can we mentor you? Can we help you through the honeymoon period and make it all good? And sometimes you get there and maybe the folks that are there say, I pretty well know it and you don't. You're at a disadvantage. And maybe I'm not going to mentor you as maybe you thought you were going to be mentored, and you're going to have to kind of claw your way out of the hole here. How did you view that once you'd been in for a short time, and how did you find your way out of that sort of awkward situation where you didn't always completely feel welcomed?
Well, my situation was when I had left an organization that was based on mentoring. So I was all about it, and I believe in the power of mentoring. So to embrace an environment where that wasn't the philosophy or the culture, it was not that surprising because of circumstances prior to that. So I knew that I had to find my way to be educated. And what I found is a whole sphere of mentors and people very willing to give me guidance and information and advice in our other elected officials in our county. And also it's what brought me to you through CCAO and finding a whole realm of people within the CCAO ranks. They could relate to my position, and some could relate to the experiences. And so you don't feel like you're on this island all by yourself. You do feel that there's a support system for you. I had to learn about budgets. I was private sector all my career, 40-year career in private sector. Now learn about public sector and fund accounting. So there were lots of things I learned, and there were lots of calls that I would get. But every time someone asked me a question from the community, it was a chance for me to learn and educate myself. I don't know the answer to that, but let me get back to you. And I believe that's part of our servant leader jobs. That's what we're here for. And what I found is most people, even though they may not like the answer you give them, they respect the fact that you gave it to them and that you put in the time to get to that answer.
Look them in the eye and give them a straight answer. And that's interesting. Let's talk about in the county and then out of the county. Within the county, of course, there are other elected officials countywide, the auditor, the treasurer, the engineer, folks like that. Were you able to rely on other county elected officials to kind of help build that rapport with county government and learn and find your way?
I absolutely had a support system. Now, our particular county in Southeast Ohio was primarily one party. It wasn't an equal share, equal split in party. I want to say that didn't make a difference because in my mind it shouldn't, but everybody did appreciate. I think people enjoy giving knowledge to others and helping along the way. And I was willing to ask the questions. They were willing to give the answers.
Don't be afraid to reach out.
Right. And I've never been afraid to ask the dumb questions.
I've always said that sometimes you can get your best advice from neighboring commissioners because they don't have a dog in the fight in your county. Is that what you found?
I did find that. And even though each county is very distinct and different, there are similarities sometimes. So enough that we can count on one another. I think everybody has a gift to give in information and experiences. And I think some of the best information shared are from some of the things we might have screwed up. Our mistakes teach ourselves, but they also teach others if we're willing to share those mistakes.
Well, I'm sure that you've done it, and I know I have, that sometimes you're also willing to tell a commissioner from a neighboring county it's not a good idea. And because, again, what have I got to lose? And I think I told you early on, anything you want to steal from our county, you go right ahead, because if it worked for us, it might work for you, and don't be afraid to try. I want to focus on CCAO for just a moment in the association, because both from the professional staff that reside mostly here in Columbus but are out among us, and some of the key people who are involved in the board and the committees and that sort of thing. You're just a wealth of knowledge there.
I'm glad you brought that up because it took me too long to appreciate and have full respect and awareness of what the CCAO staff could provide. But you have to be there, be at the table, go to the conferences, go to the workshops, go to the symposiums. And you may not love every speaker or everything going on, but the value is all of that happens in addition to those speakers. I regret that I didn't get more involved sooner in some of the committees. I have truly loved being on the board of the CCAO because for me it was initially something I wasn't getting in my home community, which is where's the next step? Where do I go from here? Where's the impact? How do I communicate?
How do you do something?
How do you do something? And realizing how important it is that commissioners communicate with our legislators on the state and federal level, because they're the ones who make it happen, but they certainly need our information to know what to make happen when. learn from my mistake and get connected sooner to those. And all it is conversations. I mean, that's all we have to do.
Well, that's the purpose of our conversation today is mentorship. I felt the same thing after a full 6 years on the Corsa board and now a long run with the CCAO board. I can honestly say from a Licking County standpoint that Licking County and my involvement over here paid dividends multiple times, and having you on the CCAO board in recent years I'm sure has benefited Muskingum County as well. As we wrap this up, is there a final thought you'd like to offer to some new commissioners or some people maybe returning from the legislature to be a commissioner or whatever in terms of what they need to be doing as they think about their new career at the county level?
I think for brand new commissioners, my message is do it your way. I would guess that as many commissioners and council members there are in our state, there's probably just as many different ways that people approach their jobs. And I don't believe it's a single one-size-fits-all. I don't think there's a right way, a wrong way, as long as you're following your goal and your vision for your community to be a servant leader. So however you choose to do it, be okay with that and know that in the end, that's what people are going to respect and appreciate from you.
Well, Mollie, I know that Muskingum County has benefited from your service for a couple of terms, and probably your departure is a loss for them, but we wish you the very best as you move ahead, and we thank you for taking time to really share some lessons learned and offering a little mentorship out there to the next generation of county leaders. I'm sure they'll find that of value.
Well, I hope so, and anybody coming into this position, my saying all along has been there's never a dull moment and you learn something new every day. And it's definitely been an experience of a lifetime.
Thank you. Mollie Crooks, Muskingum County. I'm Tim Bubb from Licking County. And we are glad that you took time to listen to what we had to offer today. Have a great day.
Thank you.